The issue of illegal migration has become deeply embedded in the social, political, economic fabric of the United Kingdom and indeed of many countries around the world. And the recent long crackdown on businesses employing illegal workers is a clear indication of the government's concern. But this is little more than waving a red flag, or if we're thinking red flags and we think of the railway children, hoisting one's petticoats and revealing one's knickers. It's little more than gesture politics, and as significant as the gesture may be, it raises critical questions about the efficacious nature of short-term operations in addressing a problem that is systemic and persistent. Illegal migration is driven by a complex interplay of factors including economic disparity, political instability, the activities of organized criminal networks that exploit vulnerable individuals, the failure of Britain, for example, to deal with short-term employment, and particularly in ventures like agriculture, where numbers are needed, and since the European Union first started limiting short-term visas, and then Britain has followed suit by making that harder through Brexit and the nonsense that's followed. It's almost an invitation to dodgy employers and dodgy fixers and smuggling gangs who often work in tandem to exploit desperate individuals seeking a better life. And these operations are not only unethical, but also undermine the rule of law, contributing to a shadow economy where illegal workers are subject to appalling conditions and exploitation because there is a gap in the system. So rather than waving one's knickers in the air and doing a week-long flag-waving exercise, one should be introducing measures that deal with the causes and repairing the damage. It's not just a matter of stopping the illegal migrants, it's a matter of filling those employment needs. And the enforcement measures, raiding over 225 businesses, for example, issuing civil penalties, detaining 75 suspected illegal workers. This is a necessary demonstration that the Home Office is actually functioning again after years of operating a hostile environment, otherwise known as indolence and laziness. It sends a stronger message that the government will not tolerate the exploitation of vulnerable individuals or the flouting of immigration laws. But the real... So in fact, for the last 15 odd years, all the Home Office seems to have done is to target students and to mess around with denying people who've already got invitations to study visas to actually carry that out, just messing around with bureaucracy when they should be out on the streets stopping the exploitation of the system, but also making sure that system, the system that is in place, is actually working. So the introduction of steep fines for businesses caught employing illegal workers is a step in the right direction, aiming to deter employers from engaging in such practices. But then we need to make sure that the employers can, in fact, hire people, either locally or internationally, who can actually do the work. And at the moment, there is a hole in the system which needs plugging. And that hole in the system is a result not just of Brexit, but also of these changes to short-term migration laws, which took place around about 1997, George Eustace and all this sort of stuff. And the in fact, 1997 is we're actually thinking of people like Blunkett and before. There's been a gradual chipping away of the capacity to actually get the work done, and this has particularly affected agricultural workers and agricultural industries. The latest to complain is the berry industry, which fears it will go under in the next few years because it simply doesn't have the labour force to pick the berries. And while these operations demonstrate a proactive approach, a more proactive approach than the indolence we've seen so far, they also reveal limitations of short-term initiatives. A week-long crackdown, no matter how successful in its immediate outcomes, cannot address the deeper issues that fuel illegal migration. And the reality is that illegal migration is a symptom of broader inequalities in our society and global challenges that require sustained, multifaceted solutions. Illegal migration, very clear, is people who have either overstayed their visa or who have not got a visa and who haven't claimed asylum. That is an illegal migrant, somebody who is staying in the country without paperwork. It's not, in fact, well, it is at the moment, it is somebody who's covered by the Nationality and Borders Act and the Illegal Migration Act. So under Suella Braverman's laws, an illegal migrant is also somebody who's come to the country by an illegal route and has now been denied the opportunity of claiming asylum. So that has caused further problems. Those laws need to be repealed if Yvette Cooper is actually to move forward. And without repealing those laws, we're living in some sort of fantasy world where we have laws on the statute book that cannot be implemented and that are simply there to make a noise. No amount of rattling of the cutlery is going to deter illegal migration. This isn't like putting up a scarecrow. And that's why the week-long crackdown is simply a prize cock hen. Can you get a cock hen? A prize cock displaying their feathers, and it's just display. It's nothing interesting. We need a comprehensive strategy that goes beyond this knee-jerk enforcement, and it must include improving legal migration pathways, which can reduce the demand for illegal routes and the exploitation which comes with them. When individuals have safe and legal paths to migrate, when businesses have safe and legal routes for accessing labour, they're less likely to fall into the hands of criminal networks, either side. Secondly, international cooperation is crucial, and many of the factors that drive illegal migration start outside the UK's borders, and addressing these factors requires coordinated efforts with other countries, particularly in terms of development aid, conflict resolution, and dismantling the smuggling networks that exist. Thirdly, the social integration of migrants, legal or otherwise, must become a priority of the new government. And marginalised communities are often exploited because they lack access to information, legal protection, economic opportunities, language. And ensuring that these migrants are aware of their rights, have access to support services, is essential to protecting them from exploitation. These people have been exploited all their life. Why do they think that's going to stop now? Because they're in another country, because they're in Britain. And we need to make it clear that that exploitation stops at our border. Finally, there's a need for a broader public conversation about migration and immigration, and public perceptions and political rhetoric that have shaped policy over the last 14 years need to be challenged, sometimes in ways that exacerbate rather than solve the problem. But we need to have these conversations openly, and a balanced approach that acknowledges the contributions of migrants while addressing legitimate concerns about illegal immigration is necessary to build a more cohesive and fair society. So while this crackdown by Yvette Cooper on illegal workers signals some sort of positivity, it should be seen as part of a larger ongoing effort to address the root causes of illegal migration, and a week-long initiative, however well-intentioned, is a flash in the pan or a flash of red knickers. It's not a solution to a problem that is deeply rooted in the socio-economic fabric of Britain. Long-term sustained efforts that combine enforcement with broader social, economic, diplomatic strategies are essential if Britain is to make any real progress in sorting out the mess that has been in existence because of the Home Office's indolence and dependence on rhetoric rather than facing reality. We need to face reality if we're going to move forward. And that reality is about the value that migration can provide, the need for proper structure, and the recognition that knicker waving is never a solution.